The first thing deputies found was the bodies. The second thing investigators found was the trail. On the night of May 15, 2026, Riverside County Sheriff's deputies responded to a welfare check at a home inside the Bermuda Dunes Country Club, a quiet, gated golf community in the desert east of Palm Springs. They knocked on the door of a house on Montego Bay Drive. Inside, they found Donald Whitaker, 80 years old, and his wife, Karen Whitaker, 79. Both had traumatic injuries. Both were pronounced dead at the scene. The Central Homicide Unit was called in. No arrests were made. In the days that followed, a picture emerged from the people who had known and loved this couple. A picture that was not just about two deaths, but about the months leading up to them, about a scam, about a fake identity, about a woman who believed completely and unshakably that she had formed a personal connection with a famous American actor. She hadn't, and according to her close friend Joy Mydeka, by the time Karen Whitaker realized the truth, if she ever did, the damage to her finances, to her marriage, and to her family had already been done. The real Tom Selleck had no involvement in any of this. What happened to Karen Whitaker was the work of an unknown impersonator, someone who found her on Facebook, found her phone number, and found exactly the right door to walk through. This is what happened, as much as we know right now. Karen Whitaker was 79 years old. She and Donald had lived together in their country club home for years. A retirement community, a golf course outside the window, the kind of life that looks peaceful from the outside. She was active in the East Valley Republican Women Patriots, a community organization where Joy Mydeka served as president. That's how they knew each other. Karen volunteered. She showed up. She cared about her community. Sometime in the months before her death, late 2025 or early 2026, according to reports, Karen posted a tribute on Facebook for a friend who had recently passed away, a public expression of grief, a comment section open to anyone. According to Mydeka, someone found that post, found Karen's phone number, and sent her a text message. The message said, "I am Tom Selleck. I knew your friend. We dated her. Now we have something in common." It was a lie built on a real grief. Whoever sent it had read Karen's post, identified her loss, and used it as a key. Karen replied, and just like that, according to Mydeka, the conversations began. Daily, text after text. The person on the other end of the phone was attentive, warm, consistent. They had time for her. They remembered what she said. They built something that felt to Karen like a genuine connection. She was living and breathing this part of her life, Mydeka told KESQ News Channel 3. They were constantly texting her every single day, text after text, and people around her started noticing. The money requests started small. According to Mydeka, the first ask was $80. The impersonator told Karen there was going to be an event in the desert, and that if she sent $80, she could be first on the list to meet him in person. $80 for a woman who believed she was finally going to meet someone she'd been talking to every day. She sent it in gift cards, the preferred currency of scammers, because gift card transactions are fast, largely untraceable, and irreversible. No bank involved, no reversal possible once the codes are sent. Then $800, then more. According to Mydeka, the amounts climbed steadily over the following months. At least $30,000. That is the figure Mydeka gave to multiple news outlets, though she acknowledged the final total may never be fully known. People around Karen began to notice. Friends, family, Mydeka herself. By then, some of the girls and I were finding out about this, and we were trying to discourage her, Mydeka said, telling her it was a scam, talking to her, doing everything in our power. but she would not believe it. She thought it was really Tom Selleck. Nobody could reach her. The connection she believed she had formed was stronger in her mind than anything the people who actually loved her were saying. Whitaker called the Riverside County Sheriff's Department. Adult Protective Services visited the Whitakers' home multiple times, according to reports. Karen's family cut up her credit cards. They removed her from bank accounts. They tried to physically limit her ability to keep sending money. She found ways, Whitaker said. According to reports, Karen eventually connected with someone who had a relationship with a person who worked somewhere that helped her access funds again. The scam, in other words, had become sophisticated enough, or Karen's belief in it had become deep enough, that it found new channels when the old ones were closed. Here is the detail that lands differently than all the others. According to Joy Whitaker, Donald Whitaker knew. He found out about the relationship at some point, likely when Adult Protective Services visited the home, according to Whitaker. He tried to talk to his wife. She wouldn't listen. Her husband was beside himself, Whitaker said, full of grief that this was happening. Donald was 80 years old. He had watched his wife send their money to a stranger on a phone for months. He had watched friends and family try to intervene and fail. He had watched Adult Protective Services visit his home and leave without being able to stop it. He had tried, himself, to reach Karen, and Karen had chosen every day to keep reaching for the phone instead. The emotional toll of that, watching someone you love be deceived, watching the world try to help and fail, watching the financial damage accumulate, is something Whitaker described without embellishment. She said she believes the scam deeply impacted the entire household. She does not know what happened inside that house on the night of May 15th. She said so plainly. She is not accusing anyone. She is only describing what she saw in the months before. On May 21st, 2026, the Riverside County Sheriff's Office released an update. According to that update, evidence gathered during the investigation suggests the deaths of Donald and Karen Whitaker could be a murder-suicide. That is a preliminary finding, not a final coroner's determination. The investigation remains ongoing. The cause and manner of death have not been officially concluded. There is no public evidence that the person or persons responsible for the financial scam had any direct involvement in the deaths. The sheriff's office said so explicitly. These are two separate tragedies that may have shared the same household. What happened to Karen Whitaker, according to the accounts of people who knew her, follows a pattern that the FBI and the Internet Crime Complaint Center have documented extensively. Celebrity impersonation scams targeting older adults are among the fastest-growing categories of elder fraud in the United States. The methodology is consistent. Find a target on social media, identify a point of emotional vulnerability, a loss, a life event, a moment of openness, and make contact using a name the target will recognize and trust. The early requests are small. The relationship is built over weeks and months of daily contact. By the time the amounts grow, the emotional investment is real enough that the victim defends the relationship against everyone around them. Friends and family become the obstacle, not the scammer. Gift cards are used because they are designed for that purpose. Fast, anonymous, with no consumer protection once the codes leave the buyer's hands. According to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, Americans over 60 lost more than $3.4 billion to fraud in 2023 alone. That number continues to rise. The scammer who targeted Karen Whitaker has not been identified. Their location is unknown. The number of people involved is unknown. Whether this has been referred to the FBI or the IC3 for federal investigation has not been publicly confirmed. They are, as of this recording, still out there. Donald and Karen Whitaker were found in their home on Montego Bay Drive on May 15, 2026. He was 80, she was 79. They had a life together, a community, friends who loved them, a friend who is now speaking to every camera she can find because she wants people to understand what she watched happen. Joy Medica's warning is not complicated. It is not a policy statement or a legal argument. It is the plainest possible thing. Nobody convinced her this was a scam. She would not believe it. If someone you love is receiving daily messages from a person claiming to be a celebrity, if they are sending gift cards, if they are pulling away from people around them, if they are defending a relationship that nobody else can see or verify, take it seriously, immediately. Call the Riverside County Sheriff at 951-776-1099. Contact the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center at IC3.gov. Call Adult Protective Services in your county. The investigation into the deaths of Donald and Karen Whitaker remains open. The coroner has not issued a final determination. No one connected to the financial scam has been charged. The real Tom Selleck had no involvement in any part of this story. His name was used without his knowledge or consent by someone who hasn't been found. Karen Whitaker was not foolish. She was grieving. She was lonely in a way that the people around her may not have fully seen, and someone found that and used it and did not stop. That person is still out there.